right, friends, today we're going to start by drawing pumpkins for fall. We're going to start with an oval, and it's a nice thin oval in the middle of our paper. This isn't the whole pumpkin. We're going to kind of build it in pieces. Now from that oval, I'm going to go to the other side and draw essentially like a long letter C. Then I'm going to go to the other side and draw that shape, but opposite, aiming the opposite direction. And then I'm going to repeat. The more times I do, the bigger my pumpkin will wind up looking. The cool thing about pumpkins is that they're kind of asymmetrical, so if you make sort of a mistake or a lump, that's fine. It'll just make it look like a real pumpkin. At the top, I'm making the stem, and then around, I'm gonna go and just make a couple leaves. Pumpkins grow on vines, and we're going to end up cutting this out and assembling on a vine. Now we're going to use the three primary colors to paint our pumpkin. Pumpkins aren't red, but I'm going to start with the color red, and I'm going to fill one area with a tiny bit of red. You don't want too much red because the yellow that we're going to use to create orange is actually stronger than the red. So I rinse my brush off nice and clean. Now I'm going to get some yellow and mix. Now the cool thing about this is you can kind of spread it around, and when I'm looking at mine, it looks too red. So what I'm gonna do is rinse my brush, wipe on the sponge, and get some more yellow. If it looks too yellow, all you do is add a little more red. The thing with this is though, you do need to move a little bit quickly. If you don't, your paint will dry and then you can't mix it. So I'm not stopping and painting other things. I'm really focusing on filling my pumpkin with those yellow and red colors before the paint dries. Almost done here, and you can see I think it looks a little too yellow on the edges there, so I'm gonna go in, give just a dab of red and add some more. Like I said, the red is stronger than the yellow. So you want less red, more yellow. All right, so now I have an orange pumpkin, and I went out of the lines in a couple spots, but that's totally fine because I'm gonna wind up painting this anyways. And now I want to mix the color green. I used yellow and red to make orange. To make green, I'm going to use yellow and blue. The same thing with the yellow and the blue is that the blue is stronger than the yellow. So I added just filled with yellow. Now I'm gonna do tiny bit of blue, not much blue at all. And that's going to take my yellow and turn it green. And again, if it goes out of the lines, no big deal. We're gonna cut these out next week. All right, now it's time for me to pause. Now I'm going to create a background and set my pumpkin to the side for now. We're going to be using oil pastels to create a nighttime scene. We made a nighttime scene before, so you can use some of those same strategies where you're drawing stars. I'm going to make some yellow, and you can even make them white. White shows up really well on the black paper. So that's one way to make stars, or you can do little dots. You can make a star by making upside down V, line, line, connect, however you would like to make your stars today. Maybe I'll swirl around like Van Gogh. I could make a little bit of grass on the ground. Now it's time to cut out my pumpkin. When I cut out my pumpkin, I want to keep the whole pumpkin together. So I'm not cutting out each individual oval I made. What I'm going to do is I want to cut around the outside edge. So I'm using my left hand, because I am right-handed, as my steering hand. It's like teamwork with my paper. My right hand is in charge of the scissors, and it's doing open, close, open, close. My left hand, my other hand, is in charge of moving the paper. So as this hand is opening and closing, this hand is moving the paper. So as I open and close, I'm cutting in the right spot. Now if you make a mistake and accidentally cut off part of your pumpkin, that's okay. You can glue it back together when you put it onto your nighttime sky. So if you make a mistake and cut off part of your pumpkin, don't be afraid, no big deal. We will go back in and reattach. All right, now I want to cut out each of my leaves for the vine, and I'm just going to set them to the side for now. When I get to gluing, I will attach those leaves. Now it's time for gluing. I'm going to flip my pumpkin over to the back, and I'm going to trace around the outside edge with glue. When I'm gluing, it's not sufficient to put a little glob in the middle. I want to trace around the outside of it. I don't need much glue, I just need it in the right places. And the right places are around the edges. Now I'm taking my nighttime sky and I'm going to place my pumpkin where I want it in the sky. Now we made leaves for vines, so I'm going to take this green oil pastel and I'm going to draw the vine. Pumpkins grow on vines. They're kind of curly. They almost look like fairy tale pumpkins. So I'm going to put a vine on this side. Maybe it goes into the ground because pumpkins do grow from the ground. They're plants. So now I'm going to pick up one of my leaves, put some glue on the back, and I'm going to place it on the vine wherever I think it looks good. And when I'm done with that, I have a beautiful piece of art. It's about a pumpkin, but it's also about my knowledge of color theory. I used the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, to mix the colors for my painting. Orange with yellow and red, and green with yellow and blue. Good job.